president is now delivering you permanent war, paid for by us.
Look, I think we would all, every single person I know, I don't know of anyone who would not rather see a negotiated settlement in which Hamas agrees to no longer be a terrorist group, lay down their arms, free the hostages. So that would be the ideal outcome, one we would all like to see. It's one that's been worked on. But I think we have to be prepared for the fact that savage, terrorists don't normally agree to things like that. But we'll continue to pursue that route. It's the ideal outcome, but it may require ultimately a concise military operation to eliminate them.
Well, unfortunately, the United States is currently in bed with savage terrorists, and that is the current government of Israel as they continue slaughtering endless amounts of people in the Gaza Strip as they bomb multiple countries. Iraq, Iran, Tunisia, Yemen, Lebanon, list goes on and on. But we're gonna pretend like we're on the side of the good guys. Now, that was Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who made clear during his latest visit to Israel that a diplomatic resolution to the genocide in Gaza is unlikely. It probably won't be possible, setting the stage for even more bloodshed. And to be sure, what is currently going down in Gaza City, the absolute demolition and bombing of every single high-rise residential building, makes clear that there is no value of human life when it comes to the Israelis and their perspective on the Palestinian people. Now, during a joint press conference today, he and Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, both made clear that the only way the war would stop is if Hamas unconditionally surrender and demilitarize. A Haaretz reporter from Israel actually asked Rubio if that's even a realistic goal. Let's take a look.
And I want to ask if you still think that the military dismantlement of Hamas is possible.
Well, Hamas can surrender tonight if they want, lay down their weapons. The problem is they're a terrorist group, a barbaric group whose stated mission is the destruction of the Jewish state. So we're not counting on that from happening. We have to remember who we're dealing with here. And that is a group of people that have dedicated their lives to violence and barbarism. And when you're confronting that hard reality, as much as we may wish that there be a sort of a peaceful diplomatic way to end it, and we'll continue to explore and be dedicated to it, we also have to be prepared for the possibility that that's not going to happen.
And this is a perfect time to provide a reminder to our audience that this ongoing genocide in Gaza may have begun as an attack on Hamas following the atrocities committed on October 7th. But the annexation of the West Bank, the absolute terror that Palestinians are facing in the West Bank, which had nothing to do with October 7th, which is not governed by Hamas, makes it clear that this isn't actually about Hamas. The annexation of land in Syria following the fall of Bashar al-Assad makes it clear that this is not about Hamas. This is an expansionist colonial settler program, the Greater Israel Project, and anyone trying to convince you otherwise is lying to you. And by the way, Rubio's hawkish comments differ a little bit from Donald Trump, but the president does speak from both sides of his mouth. He had said earlier, earlier this month, he said that a deal to stop the fighting in Gaza would come very soon. I mean, there was no indication that that was true. Right now, you have the Israeli government completely untethered to any responsibility, any consequences. They're literally bombing American allies, and nothing happens in response to that at all. Trump apparently, wagged his finger at Netanyahu and gave him a stern talking to over a phone call, and then continued supplying the weapons for the endless atrocities committed by Israel. Netanyahu, unsurprisingly, was very much on the same page as Rubio. At the end of the conference, he said that he would prefer a Hamas surrender, but that the war wouldn't end unless Hamas was completely demilitarized. And of course, again, this genocide has nothing to do with Hamas. The land grabs that we're seeing right now would indicate otherwise. And of course, Netanyahu is expected to share his plans, by the way, with US officials who are currently in Israel, his plans to annex the West Bank. So let's just call it like we see it. Okay, this isn't about a terrorist group. This is about aiding and abetting Israel's empire building using American taxpayer money, American bombs, and potentially in the future, because they're planning another attack on Iran, American soldiers. Cenk, back to you.
Yeah, so three things here. So first off, as you pointed out, Anna, when Marco Rubio was talking about violent, barbaric terrorists, I kept thinking of Israel, because Israel is, of course, as I've told you many times, killed over 60 times the number of civilians as Hamas has, over 500 times the number of children. So and since their civilian kill ratio is far worse than Hamas's, obviously it's intentional. You don't accidentally destroy all of Gaza. It's obviously intentional. Anyone who isn't enormously biased or a giant liar knows that it's intentional. And so the government of Israel are terrorists. And some of them have actually been convicted of aiding and abetting terrorism before, like Ben-Gvir, even within Israel. So that's clear. Marco Rubio works for Israel. That's clear. He's gotten over $1 million from the Israeli lobby in his career. He's looking forward to getting a lot more when he runs for president. So those not only past bribes, but future bribes. Yes, they're legal bribes in America because of the Supreme Court decisions, but nevertheless, he does work for them, literally. They write checks to him and then he serves them loyally instead of serving our country. So we wanted peace. Now, Trump is a different guy than Rubio. Trump said that he was going to be the anti-war president, the pro-peace president, talked about wanting to win a Nobel Prize. Now, has he lived up to that? In some ways, hell no. He's desperately trying to start a war with Venezuela now for no reason other than the fact that they have a lot of oil and we don't like their leader. So obviously we got to go kill him or something and take their oil. So God help you if you've got a lot of oil, because you're gonna get called a terrorist and we're gonna come after you, right? So that's a second reason. That one has nothing to do with Israel, but it is a very pro-war. He also, of course, Trump bombed Iran. That is very pro-war. But to be fair to Trump, he did try hard to get the peace in Ukraine. And I believe he tried in Gaza, and he sent Witkoff there and he pushed the Israelis on a number of occasions. But that all changed after Netanyahu's last visit. We don't know what happened there, but Trump went from challenging them to doing the same exact obedient lapdog routine as Joe Biden. I sent him a strongly worded letter and I called him and I yelled at him. Ha ha. I really showed him. Yes, of course, I'm sending the money right away, sir. No, sir, of course, sir, you can destroy anyone you like, sir, including the peace process. So when they say that all of Hamas has to surrender, that moves us to point number two. That is a purposely undoable goal. And politicians in Israel, former prime ministers, etc., certainly the press in Israel, many people in Israel have pointed out, wait, that means we're never going to get the hostages back. And we're never going to end this war. Because there is no magical situation where how do they surrender? Do a couple of hundred people, a couple of thousand people come out of the tunnels dressed in their Hamas garb and lay down their arms and go, okay, Israel, you can now kill us? How do you know that's all of Hamas? What if 7 people come out, or 70 or 700? Even if 7,000 came out, do you know what Netanyahu would say? That wasn't all of them. The real leaders and the real guys are hiding. According to our calculations, they don't have 7,000, they have 13,000. So nope, the war continues, because it's literally an undoable goal. You never know if all of Hamas has surrendered. And no one even knows what it means to surrender. Do they just kill themselves? Do they turn themselves into Israeli authorities? What is this? So this is perpetual war. And why? Why does Israel want perpetual war? The whole point of Israel was supposed to be a safe haven for Jews. How does endless war equal safe haven? It doesn't. This isn't about that. This is about greater Israel. And it's not like they're hiding it. And that leads to point number 3. So Marco Rubio says, this Hamas, we can't negotiate with them. We have to murder them all because they want to kill Israelis. So while we're murdering all of them, by the way, we murdered over 64,000 Palestinians at a bare minimum. Now the former head of the IDF admits, we'll get to it in a minute, over 200,000 casualties in Gaza. Who are the murderers, Marco Rubio? Okay, and then he says, and they don't want Israel to exist. Netanyahu reconfirmed, now this is multiple times and they've already voted on it, but he said it again this past week. He said there will never be a Palestine. Okay, so it is the Israelis who are preventing the Palestinians from existing, the Palestinian state from existing, because they're vicious racists against the Palestinians. They don't believe that they're real human beings. They've dehumanized them, they've slaughtered them, they've starved them, they've occupied them, they've enslaved them. And now we are enslaved here in America, saying, open up your wallets, let's go. Israel wants your money, let's go, let's go. And if you dare to disagree, that's it, we're gonna target you. We're gonna say that, oh yeah, oh terrorism, oh you support Palestinians, oh I can't believe you support other human beings. That's it. Take away, as Stephen Miller just said, your money, your power, threaten to arrest you, take away your passport, deport you, etc. You're not allowed to disagree with Israel. And if you think you have freedom in America, you have freedom with an asterisk, except your entire government will work for Israel. And if you dare defy Israel in any way, we're gonna target you and you will pay for Israel's endless wars. Otherwise, we're gonna call you a terrorist. So that's who this scum Marco Rubio is. He's one of the worst people that has ever been in government. All he does is represent a foreign country and not us. And that doesn't apply to everybody in the Trump administration. Before Trump got neutered, he was actually defying Israel time to time. Steve Witkoff was actually trying to do real peace negotiations. I might not have agreed with his position, but it was a real effort there. Now that effort is over. So the anti-war president is now delivering you permanent war, paid for by us. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.